Landon Donovan, oh my gosh, a legend. You know, I get a little gushy. I'm going to be a little bit of a fanboy here. Who couldn't love Landon Donovan? I was just telling him during the break. Oh, stop it. Maybe Pochettino, but that's about it. But during the break, like, I remember the goal against Algeria in the World Cup, watching with my family. I'll never forget it. That's one of the most seminal moments in USA soccer. So, Landon, great to have you on the show. Let's start with this, a layup. How do you feel about the game against Guatemala tonight?
I think we got a gift. Guatemala played Canada the other night, and Canada are a much, much better overall team than Guatemala. And I think if they play that game 10 times, Canada win 8, Guatemala tie 1, and they win 1. And they tied, went to penalty kicks, and ended up losing the game. So it's a bit of a gift for us. Guatemala is not a top CONCACAF team. This is the first time, I believe, in 30-something years they've been to the semifinals of a Gold Cup. So I expect us to win. It will not be easy, J-Mac. Soccer never is, because goals are hard to score. But I expect that we'll win tonight.
Well, I'm just curious. Obviously, you're not there talking to the players, but what do you think the mindset is, given Freeze shows up in PKs, you know, all the criticism for the team, but they have been kind of playing great. I didn't love the goal they gave up in, the 85th minute or whatever. But overall, they've played pretty darn good, no?
They've been fantastic, and it's important to have the context of what happened. So before the tournament, many players opted out of the tournament, which, you know, is a whole nother story. And for people who have dreamt of playing soccer their whole life, you know, it's pretty interesting that people would not want to play for their national team. A lot of players out injured, and then a third set of players are out for the Club World Cup that's going on concurrently. So this group of players is a little bit of a makeshift, maybe 1 or 2 starters, but the rest are a B, maybe even in some cases a C team or a C player. And what they've done is they've taken the opportunity. And J-Mac, you know, in sports, when someone leaves the door slightly open, you better be careful, because someone else might barge through. And these guys have barged through, and they've been really inspiring. For those of us who love this game and love this national team, it's been really fun to watch them continue to grow and win back hearts and minds of Americans.
Yeah, I didn't want to start with the controversy, but let's go into it. You know, they didn't seem to have an identity heading into the Gold Cup. Like, what are they? Do you think that Pochettino has kind of established this is what we are, or is that still a work in progress?
So this is the hard part with soccer for people who are new to it. You play for your club team all the time. And let's use the analogy of you play for the Lakers or the Celtics or the Yankees. But then once a month, maybe once every couple months, you come together for whatever country you represent, and you represent your national team. The problem is you're only together for 2 or 3 days at a time, and then you go back to your club teams. What's happened in this camp is Pochettino had 2 friendlies before this camp started. So he had a week and a half with these guys, 2 games. And now they're going on, I think, 2.5 or 3 weeks together. Having that amount of time together is priceless. With a national team, it's absolutely priceless. So in the beginning, there was no identity. People didn't know what to expect. Everybody's sort of looking around in camp. Are you a leader? You're a leader with your club team, but are you a leader here? And now you're starting to see roles defined. You're starting to see people take the opportunity. You saw Matt Freeze say, hey, no one else has claimed the goalkeeper spot. Why not me? And that's what guys have done this entire tournament. It's been really fun to watch them grow.
Yeah, and you said the door is kind of open. And I asked the staff here, like, how many guys do you think currently on the Gold Cup roster would maybe start next year in the World Cup? And we came around 2 or 3. I don't know. Am I missing anyone? I think Freeze might have passed Turner just alone in this tournament. But who else do you think? Could Richards be a starter next year in the World Cup?
Well, look, like politics, a year is a long time, right? Yeah. So a lot of things can happen in a year. However, this is what I would say with Pochettino. Pochettino is Argentinian. He spent most of his career in Europe coaching. He doesn't have any obligation to anybody who has name recognition or has played in the past or has been a leader or been a captain. He just looks at this roster and says, these are the guys I have. You show me that by your performance today against Guatemala, that you deserve to play in the final if we win. And if we play in the final against Mexico or Honduras, you show me again that you deserve to play in the friendlies that are coming up in the fall. And you deserve to play in the next one and the next one and the next one. he doesn't care if you have a big name or a big contract or play for a big club. He can only evaluate what he's seeing. And what he's seeing right now are a bunch of guys who are taking advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah, do you think Tillman is one of those guys? I was looking at his background.
Absolutely.
Played on the German national team, 15 through 21. And it's like, wow, he looks outstanding. But I don't think of him as better than Balogun, and like some of the other forwards, right? Or is that now a discussion?
Yeah, but it is a discussion. And for what I just said, and the old adage, the most important ability in sports is availability. And Balogun is a fantastic player, talented. Ricardo Pepi, fantastic player, very talented. They've been injured. Both of them have been injured a lot. Malik Tillman's not an out-and-out striker. There's a young man named Patrick Ajamong who has sort of taken that role. And we'll see what happens. J-Mac, the telling sign will be in the next camp after this Gold Cup. Does he just readily invite all those guys back in? Or does he say, you know what? These guys did a great job for me in the Gold Cup, this B and C list, and maybe they become the A list. And that's gonna tell us a lot.
That would ruffle some feathers. But I'm just curious. Like, that sounds like a good talking point, and hearing you say it, like, yeah, there's something there. But in your soccer experience, do you ever recall them going with B's over A's just because the A's weren't there?
No, and no, the reason why is because when you play with your national team, and this is part of my frustration, why I'm outspoken about this.
Yes.
When you play for your national team, it just means more. It has to mean more. And I'm not saying people don't try with their club teams. I'm not even saying people don't care sometimes when they play with their national team. But if you're not willing to do anything and everything to win the game with your national team, then you don't deserve to be there. And the guys who are there right now have said, I don't care what happens. I'm not, a guy, Diego Luna, a young man, broke his nose in a friendly in January. And they said, you need to come out of the game. And he said, I'm not coming out of the game. This is my one chance. So you can pull me off the field. You can carry me off, but I'm not coming out of the game. Next thing you know, he started every game in the Gold Cup. If the roster was announced tomorrow for the World Cup, he is 100% on it. And he came out of nowhere. And so that's what it means to play for your national team. Malik Tillman got kicked all over the field the other night. And he got up again and got up again and got up again. He missed a penalty in the game, came back and made a penalty in the penalty kick shootout. So they are showing Mauricio Pochettino what it means to play for a national team. And there's no reason why a lot of these guys, one, won't be on the roster, and two, some of them would start. Now, are they all going to be starters? I don't think so. But hopefully it sends a message to the rest of the group that this is what's expected. And if you don't do it, you're not going to be here.
Yeah. All right. I got to ask it. And obviously, the drama with Pulisic and Pochettino. Have you heard from anybody in either camp since the Gold Cup privately? If it's private stuff and you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. But have you heard from anyone in Pulisic's camp or Pochettino's?
No.
Do you anticipate?
No. And I talked to many people behind the scenes all week, J-Mac, in U.S. soccer. And the reality right now is what I just said about Pochettino. He does not feel any obligation to any player. Now, is Christian Pulisic more talented than anybody on the current Gold Cup roster? Yes, by a gazillion miles. But when you play for a national team, it doesn't always mean that. If you do yourself a favor, go watch Argentina play Colombia or Argentina play Brazil. When you watch that game, you go, there's not a lot of soccer being played here. This is just a battle. And these are some of the best players in the world, and all the skill and all the stuff gets thrown out the window for 90% of the game, and they just battle because that's what it means to play for your country. So I think the message is loud and clear. And to Christian's credit, I think when he shows up and plays, he does play that way.
Yeah.
Now, some of the other guys on the roster haven't. And I think the message is becoming clear from Pochettino. You either do this or you're not playing.
Yeah, I feel like that was a shot at Gio Reyna, but I'm just going to sidestep it. We'll wrap up with this. Freeze obviously was the hero in the PKs. Turner's kind of been buried on the bench with his club team. I don't know. Do you think Freeze passed him, or is it too early to tell?
I want to separate. People get excited in moments, right?
Yeah.
It'd be like if a guy gets fouled for a three-pointer and makes 3 free throws to win the game. You wouldn't necessarily then say, oh, well, he's the best player throughout the game, right? Because he made those three free throws. Matt Freeze is excellent, clearly, at penalty kicks. And I will just say, let's say he's not one of the best 3 goalkeepers. Generally, you take 3 goalkeepers to the World Cup. There is every opportunity that Pochettino says, you know what? I'm going to take him even as my third, even though he's not the best, because we might get into a situation in a knockout stage where we need to take penalty kicks. And I could absolutely see that happen. Now, aside from that, I think he's been okay. I don't think he is a better goalkeeper than Matt Turner. But I talked earlier, you leave that door open. You're Matt Turner, and you didn't play a lot of club soccer the last year. You left the door open, and someone said, bang, I'm kicking that thing down, and I'm coming in.
Yeah.
And he has.
Landon Donovan, Fox Sports soccer analyst, a legend on the pitch and off of it. Great stuff, Landon. Thanks a lot. Enjoy
I really
the game,
appreciate
man.
you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.